us right now. You know, we've got a driver's license, or you've got a credit card, you've got a bus pass, or you've got a school ID, but you've got this thing that you carry with you to prove that you're really who you are. That's what it is. You prove that you are you. It's a very strange time, but we have to prove that we're really us all the time. And we do it with this thing of our face, this picture. And most of us don't like our pictures on our driver's licenses, right? There's always someone on here. Look at mine. It's hot. You know, most of us don't like it. But because we have an idea how we're supposed to look like it. So to try to take away some of that power with the project, I basically said I would photograph people until they got a shot that they liked. And it's bizarre how long some people will photograph the same expression. The record, 17. All exactly the same. And I showed this woman, I'm just like, oh my God, erase it. I'm like, same exact. Oh my God, my nose, erase it. That's, oh no. All exactly the same. I then gave them the opportunity to, list their ethnicities in their own words, because even though the census in 2000 gave us for the first time the opportunity to check more than one box, we think of that as a big milestone. It's a shift, but it's still their boxes. You know, they still have boxes like non-Hispanic white. You tell me what that means, you know, or you can't. Why can't you check Jewish? Well, that's a religion. Well, it's also an ethnicity. Well, it's not really a race, but if we want to be honest, we all just check African. You know, there's no scientific basis whatsoever to race. So let them pick their own, and then have them respond to the question, "What are you?" in their own handwriting. And that's where I think it gets interesting, because people have these great responses, because we like to. I mean, long before we were tagging, subway trains, we were like marking on our caves, drawing on mastodons that we killed and so on. We like to mark things. So some people, in some basic little comments they give, everything, nothing, at the same time, I feel like at the end of the disappearing race, it was really hard to find old people to photograph, though. Can people guess why? It's not because they're naked. They're not naked, okay? It's just collarbone, it's not like, come on, auntie, picture time. It's not like, it's just strap. And you see more of this when you go to the supermarket and look at any tabloid. It was hard to find because it was illegal. It wasn't just culturally frowned upon. It was illegal to have these marriages. But without even reading the statement, when I show this, I'd like you to actually do something different. I'd like you to look at the statement, which is different than reading it. And when you look at that, that's grandma handwriting. And we know that intuitively, instantly. I mean, that's the thank you for the chocolates handwriting. We know that. And then kids, because kids don't default to race with the what are you question. Kids give you extra stuff. I am mixed. I like playing with my friends. So I get older, I want to be a star. I really like sports. Great, man. Check out the sun, and the heart, and this. But the really cool part of this actually is the big black blob in the center. And the reason that's so good is if you or I were doing this as an quote-unquote adult, as a mature individual, we would have been like, oh, I messed up. I made this big black blob. Another piece of paper, yeah, thanks. But a kid is just like, almost done. Like it's okay to have it, and they think it's really great. So I think what I do when I teach art in college is I'm really trying to get these students to remember how to make art where you don't worry about being wrong. You just do it because it feels right to do. It's really hard to do. Chinese and Danish. I'm part Chinese and part Danish. I don't usually tell people I'm Danish because they think I'm a pastry. So for 10 years, that kid has gotten more laughs than I ever have on stage. But I think what's interesting is that's a joke he's heard his whole life, right? He'll tell that joke. He'll be the old uncle at Thanksgiving, in his 70s saying, oh, yeah, Danish pastry. That's his joke, but I had never heard that. I think what's so interesting now, this is the first time in sort of the era of modern communications that you can become famous without Sony behind you, or without Warner Brothers, or without Universal, that you can go viral on YouTube or through MySpace Music or whatever, or you can freaking tweet. Oh, if you guys are trying to tweet me and hashtagging me, that's not really me. That's someone else. There's a lot of fake tweets as me. I don't actually tweet, and there's a couple of fake Kips on Facebook too. I used to let them run because I thought it was kind of fun. One got to like 500 friends and was saying all these things as me, and I thought it was really great, and I was enjoying reading what I was saying. But then one of my friends got she's like, I'm posting pictures of my daughter on there. I thought and I realized it's affecting other people. And surprisingly, you can't shut down someone that's faking you on Facebook. It takes months. It's an interesting time. Anyway, A lot of kids are talking about like, well, what's the right answer with the what are you question? And I'm like, whatever you write is right. And when that clicks in, that they can write whatever they want, then you get things like, my mom cooks really good Indian food. My dad, who is European, claims to be able to cook all kinds of food, although it tastes more like leather. I hope I'm not what I eat. It's good. As the project got bigger, I photographed, let's see, California, Hawaii, Wisconsin, New York, Illinois, Washington, I can't remember where. I decided I was going to make a book out of it in this day and age where people don't buy books. Good idea. But I thought, let's do this. And I realized I had 1,200 people. I could only put maybe 1 out of 10 in the book. And people started asking me, well, how do I get in the book? I want to be in the book. And I said, you get in the book by writing something which is non-transferable. You guys remember this from class? You guys are one of my old students here. Did I ever say non-transferable in class? You weren't even listening, were you? Okay. The idea of being non-transferable is meaning that your statement is so you could hand it to someone else, and if they read it, it would still sound like you. That's a statement that's yours. In other words, if you write down, I am a human being, I've got 50 of those. You write down, I make trash cans for a living. When you think trash, think of Mike. You're in. Okay. Sometimes they respond to the question itself. I left the U.S. hoping to find out what I am, found out I'm an American. Why are you coming on to me? This guy I know via tattooing. If you look at his north side colors, it's tattooed 100% Filipino. Now, why would someone who is so invested in his Filipino identity, he tattoos 100% Filipino across his sternum, why would he want to be part of a project that's about being quote-unquote multiracial? Well, again, for one, race doesn't even exist biologically, and two, identity is not for me to tell you or anyone. It's you. Only you get to decide who you are. If you want to be part of the project, I said be part of the project, but check out what this guy writes. Hi, my name is James. I am 100% Filipino. I have Spanish in me. Hi, my name is James. I'm 100% Filipino. I have Spanish in me. I like that because it doesn't make any sense, and yet it also makes total sense. If you're Filipino, you've got Spanish, you've got Chinese, you've got Indigenous Islander. It shows how all these weird barriers we've had about race break down under any kind of scrutiny. Sometimes kids are real, this kid's like you're done? Yeah, what are you, boy, Elijah Purple Belt, done. And this, I wish I was as good a writer as some of these kids. They're just fantastic. This project then toured around the country and internationally, and I went to see it in LA as part of the Race Are We So Different exhibit, and they had an interactive component people could write, and I saw someone had drawn this drawing. This was just last year in LA, and I was like, who's that ripping off my little kid? Who's that? And I read the statement, and it said, I'm the little girl that drew this 7 years ago. This sounds pretty awesome. If you've ever followed sumo, the national sport of Japan, sumo tori, the martial art, not the frat guys in fat suits, the real thing. The grand champion of the Yokozuna for many years was a fighter named Akebono from Waimanalo, Hawaii. And Akebono at his prime was, 6'8", 450. It was just an enormous fighter. And he would go through these bashos and he would go undefeated. He's just a terribly frightening fighter. This is his mother. If there's a fight between Akebono and Auntie, put all your money on Auntie. I photographed so many people in Waimanalo because I sat with Auntie on her front porch, and Auntie, not a small woman, has sat in this rocking chair, and I realized she runs the neighborhood. Anyone that came with her, hey, come here! And people just run to her. What? Take picture! What am I? I am goddess. I am woman. Confident, arrogant. Okay, so I'm going to skip through some of these just to, well, this is a good one. Hawaiian, Chinese, German. I'm a grown man who just exposed my breast to a complete stranger. Which is great, but you don't need to draw emoticon sideways, right? It's just really bizarre. Let's see. I'm going to go through some of these. It's one of my junior lifeguards. We're teaching in San Diego. My name is Aliko. It is made-up Japanese. I don't think anyone has said my name right when they first meet, but I think I have cool nicknames like Ali, Alberto VO5, and Fat Albert. The most important part of the project for me wasn't that I got to find my tribe. Okay, we had nothing in common besides we couldn't fill out ethnicity questionnaires together. As you read Ichiban's statement, the most important part of the project for me was it forced me to be around people who thought differently than me. It forced me to be around other opinions because I'm just as cowardly as any of you guys. I hang around with my crew. And in my crew, there's no one that ever voted for Bush. There's no homophobes. It's like, and we think that's normal, and it's not. That's normal in our crew, and then there's this us-them thing. And so I think I look at Ichiban's statement, and I'd say we probably agree that we're both patriots, and we probably both feel that this is the greatest country in the world. And we probably come to it from totally opposite sides of the political spectrum. I think that's really important to kind of realize that we do have these commonalities. It's really, really rare to find that right now. this guy's in New York here, and he's black, white, and native. Again, not my definition of Hapa, but it's not about me. If you want to be part of the project, be part of the project. But check out what he writes. I just say I'm from the Bronx, ancestral tribe that trinos were extinguished by Columbus and